Whether or not you like Tate, regardless of any of that stuff, he just said all of that. And that is all illegal. Whether it should be illegal is a question that you might have, but indeed, it is illegal. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. So as time has gone on, we started doing a lot of red pill stuff, Andrew Tate, fresh and fit, all that kind of stuff. But, very quickly that got boring, that got old. And despite the fact that Andrew Tate has been all over the headlines, the actual content itself that kind of boosted him to that level kind of got stale. And there was a lot of people who were following both, Andrew Tate, red pill, fresh and fit type stuff, and Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Hodge twins, that kind of conservative stuff. But you're seeing now a big shift where the conservative guys, specifically Ben Shapiro, want to distance themselves from the Tate specifically, and certainly from the red pill, because we know that Andrew Tate denounced the red pill, but even still, the trad cons are not about it.
We've seen the left's response, which is to simply throw up their hands and pretend that, those societal institutions that made everything better. And then, though, we should probably model some of that. But, if we don't, it's not really a big deal because moral apathy. And the truth is those institutions were patriarchal and they were heteronormative and they were cisnormative and all the rest of this.
That's basically the entire left-wing political platform, if you weren't familiar.
Well, that's not a solution. But the right has reacted to that, the destruction of these institutions, in precisely the way that you would suppose. So George Gilder, who's an economist and a really good thinker, he had a book back in the 1980s called Men and Marriage. And his basic premise is one of the things I've been suggesting here, which is that men have this wild, aggressive instinct. And these wild, aggressive instincts must be put to work for building, or they will be put to work on behalf of destruction.
Yep, this is exactly like the video that I dropped last week from Jordan Peterson, and he was talking about how you have to be able to understand that you are a monster, that you can be a demon, you can be a very dark, dangerous individual, and then also be able to control that.
And you are seeing that as women have treated men as superfluous, men have started to treat women, in some circles, as the enemy. They've started to treat women as though women are something to be treated as chattel, or women should be treated without the full respect that women deserve.
I wonder if he's talking about fresh and fit. I wonder.
They say women aren't treating themselves with respect. Why should I respect women? Women don't want me to open the door for them, so I'm not going to open the door for them. Women say they want to be independent, that women don't want a man. Okay, well, I'm not going to treat them like they do. I'm going to take my aggressive instincts and I'm going to use them to their best available effects. Okay, or worst available effects is the actual case, maybe. So I would say example 1A here would be Andrew Tate. So I've been discussing Andrew Tate a lot because he's back in the news a lot. Did a 2.5-hour interview with Tucker Carlson that had a lot of interesting moments to it.
And I covered a good portion of that. Definitely go check that out.
And the thing I've always said about Andrew Tate is that Andrew Tate's diagnosis is very often correct, and his prognosis, his actual recommendations for what we ought to do are almost entirely wrong.
So that's a pretty good categorization of how people see. I've been talking about it in The Man or the Message, that do we really want to write off Andrew Tate because he's done X, Y, and Z? Or do we want to say, okay, he's done some things that we don't like. He said some things that we don't like, but he's got some good points. So let's just take the good points for what they are and not have to make our entire lives about becoming top G's or something.
That many of the things that he says about the feminist movement are totally right. He's critiquing the left's wrecking of these institutions. But instead of trying to reinforce the institutions and rebuild the institutions, his response is the toxically masculine response is, well, if this is a new world, then what I'm going to model, the behavior I'm going to model is not getting married, having kids, building a home, supporting my community.
Ben, really? Toxic masculinity? That's where you're going to go? I would expect you to understand the argument that if this is how you are acting, then it's not masculinity. That toxic masculinity is a buzzword made up by the left. Why are you playing their game, man? Come on.
The behavior that I'm going to model is instead being as toxically masculine as using women. Right? If women are still driven toward that top achiever, I'm going to be the top G, right? I'm going to be the guy who's the top achiever, and then I'm going to sleep with as many women as possible for sexual access. I'm going to have Lamborghinis, I have really nice cars, I'm in a nice house, I'm going to live in Romania. I'm going to do whatever I want to do because that's what the male aggressive instinct unchained looks like.
So you can see the diversion from talking about how the left wing has, corrupted society and all that kind of stuff, to when you get into a little bit more of the minutia of, okay, yes, the left is bad, so what do we do about it? And the red pill is much more sexual, progressive, and modern, whereas the conservative movement is obviously a lot more traditional.
And we've been basically barred from the societal institutions by women. So what you should aspire to is this. Okay, well, this leads many on the right, because they look at his diagnosis and they're like, a lot of what he's saying about feminism is right. It leads many people on the right to look at the diagnosis and say, well, he's one of us. Well, here's the thing. Andrew Tate's solutions are not along those lines. Some of the stuff that he says to Tucker Carlson, for example, is not the way he actually lives his life. So tape has now emerged of Andrew Tate talking about the way that he treats women. So Andrew Tate made a lot of money off quote unquote cam girls. Cam girls are women who undress and perform provocative acts for the lust of men on webcams.
And see, I'm not necessarily opposed to women choosing to do that or men choosing to spend money on that. I certainly wouldn't suggest it. As a more libertarian type of person, as long as you're not hurting anybody, then I don't see the issue. But obviously, Ben Shapiro is going to be firmly in that conservative camp.
Well, Andrew Tate was deeply involved in this industry. That's how he made a lot of money. And he bragged about it, like a lot.
Yep.
Okay, so Andrew Tate's solution to the problem of feminism, and particularly third wave feminism, and the complete dissolution of sexual ethos, is to participate in it, but go back to sort of the way that it was in cavemen days, right? Men use women as you will, and this is now justifiable.
I think that's a pretty fair characterization of what Tate stands for. And, I don't think he would say anything that different. And if you agree, you will definitely find a home at the Indian Jesus Discourse server, where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7. We are in there hanging out. And after every single live stream, we go in there for an after panel where you're not stuck behind your keyboard, but you're actually on screen with me and everybody else. You can come up if you want to. You don't have to. Either way, it's a grand old time. Come and join us.
That's the only way you can explain the fact that Andrew Tate is simultaneously critiquing the feminist sexual ethos of the sexual revolution and full atomistic hedonism.
And still playing into it.
Well, simultaneously participating in it. So here is Andrew Tate. Okay, this is a clip that was going around. It's actually a fairly long compendium that was going around of Andrew Tate talking about what he actually did with women over the course of years. And me talking about it, I don't know his case. I don't know whether this is criminal behavior. I don't know whether it's not criminal behavior. I know I would never talk like this. I know no good man that you know would ever talk like this. I know that any man who says this kind of stuff has a serious moral problem.
So we know that, Ben's going to play videos of him either talking about how he gets the cam girls, how he took their money, whatever. The question of should Andrew Tate be in jail is, a big question. What I want to focus on is the reason that these conservative people don't like the Tate specifically and the red pill message.
Here's Andrew Tate talking about women in a way that I don't think any good man should ever talk about women.
What are you charged with?
That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos.
They face charges which include human trafficking and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women.
OnlyFans is the best hustle in the world.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No. They're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whole. It's just not going to work. You continue as normal. No mention of webcam. You the girl. After you the girl, you do the PhD test. So yeah, on corporatetape.com, I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
Clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me.
So whether or not you think this is wrong, whether or not you like Tate, regardless of any of that stuff, he just said all of that, and that is all illegal. Whether it should be illegal is a question that you might have, but indeed, it is illegal.
Okay, so that's disgusting. That is actually evil. And the idea that you seduce a girl, make her fall in love with you, have sex with you, and then get her to pose nude and, perform acts in front of a camera so you can take a piece of her money.
I mean, yeah, it's shady. But is it something that needs to be condemned in the way that, that you don't have to do it? He's not making you do it. He's just saying if these women choose to come with me, then that's what they want to do. So you can see, I mean, definitely go check out the rest of the video. But the point here is clearly there is a rift in people looking for an identity. We know that on the left, people look to politics for their identity, but people look to it on the right as well. MAGA is a whole thing. And you're seeing a lot of the people who were repping both red pill and, TradCon, they're now kind of like, I can't have both. Which one do I want? And it makes sense because you can have both. They're very different ideologies. They just happen to both hate feminism. So which one are you? Are you more red pill or are you more TradCon? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Once again, I've been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.